All right, Ryan, how about a real quick shout out to the graduates, the class of 2022, and specifically at the University of Connecticut? How about that? How about a nice shout out to all of them? Class of 2022, finally, like all the other classes, they get to have well, except for the class of 2020, they get to have a nice ceremony. People come make a speech at their graduation, right? It's that time of year again where you have an almost NBA champion and almost NHL hockey champion. And all that means graduation. Caps and gowns are on the way.
Yeah, really special time of the year, and you're graduating tomorrow, so can't wait to get together for that. And it's a good time, brings everybody together, get the family together. So really special time. A lot of people work hard for graduation. Takes some people 2 years. It might take some people 10
10
years, but
years.
it's all worthwhile in the end.
Oh, man. Well, don't make me break the Kleenex out. I appreciate it, though. All right. So moving on to this episode, Ryan, today on what's today? Wednesday the 18th. And sooner or later, you will be hitting the plane straight to South.
Yeah,
Straight
that's
to
right.
go
Both
down
of us.
south. But before that, you had two more episodes to break loose to me. Hopefully, Austin can get that interview out on Friday morning. And then this is it. So today is the number two moment. Is that right? Number two moment of the 21-22 season. And then we will break out the actually tomorrow morning. We will break out the number one moment, Ryan, in at the 21-22 season. I think a lot of people already know what it is. And how about very quickly a shout out to Maria for coming on
Yeah.
yesterday. I know you enjoyed that a lot. That was a lot of fun. And I told you, I'm like, you know what? Just so she knows that we appreciate it so much. I'm like, Ryan, we almost have to watch that interview together again and like rack up like make a list of like you and I each top five things learned from top five takeaways, that is, from that interview, because that was fun.
Yeah, it was. I had a great time interviewing her and talking with her. Yeah, really fun. Couldn't have went any better. So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure you check it out. And like we said at the end there, hopefully we can get her back on. I'm sure she'll come back on before the season or maybe sometime between the season or whatnot. So but yeah, she did great talking on that interview. And yeah, definitely we'll have to go back and watch it. A lot of things. I learned a lot of things from listening to what she had to say yesterday. So
Yeah, it was very interesting. We love to have her. We love to have her on, and we, like you said, we always, anytime she wants to come back, she's always more
yeah.
than welcome. SNY reporter Maria Marino. All right, Ryan, what do you have for me today as we break down the number two best moment of the season?
Yeah, I know you guys will like this one. I know how much all of you like Caroline Ducharme. So I figured at number two, it'd only be right to have Caroline Ducharme with her buzzer-beating layup against DePaul on January 26th. This is one of Caroline's best games. Paige Beckers, of course, was out with her injury. Caroline played 33 minutes, scored 19 points, and had the game-winning shot. And this was early in the season on January 26th. So UConn 11-4 the weeks before this game. They had 4 games postponed due to the COVID outbreak. And the week before this game, they lost to Oregon and dropped 10th in the AP poll. So this is one of their toughest stretches during the whole season, I'd argue. And this was a huge win against a tough DePaul team in Chicago. And if they would have lost this game, they would have dropped to 11-5 and possibly, a lot further down into the AP poll rankings. They dropped to 11th, I believe, at some point in the season. And maybe if they would have lost this game, maybe we could have seen them drop to 12 or 13. Certainly not something we usually see out of the UConn Huskies, but this was a huge win and a great game to watch, and a huge buzzer beating layup by Caroline Ducharme.
How about buzzer beaters in basketball, Ryan? There's not, to me, there's nothing like buzzer beaters, is it? I mean, it's kind of like, kicking the game winning field goal in football. I just love them buzzer beaters, nothing like it. But I know that you mentioned that you also had, it was tough because we'll break it to them now. We did not rank AZ Fudd's that historic game she had against Tennessee. Remember when she broke out? We actually did not put that in the top 5 at all, did we?
No, we didn't. It
No.
was, I forget what it was against Tennessee. I don't know the date. I believe it was after this game. It wasn't, I believe it was in,
It was the
uh,
first. Yeah, I think it was the first time that we actually saw AZ Fudd in like a full time game.
yeah, February
Um,
6th.
yeah, when she come back from the injury, I believe.
Yeah, 75 to 56 win against Tennessee. Yeah, left her off this list, but definitely an honorable mention. Could have been on the
Yeah,
list. 25 points season high for AZ. Great game. I had some doubts about UConn going into that game. I wasn't really sure how they were gonna do. Without Paige Beckers, obviously only had 8 players that played in that game, but yeah, really great game, really great upset win. But a lot of people saying it wasn't an upset, but in terms of the seeding, I think it was, and just the way the situation UConn was at in that point in the season, that was a great blowout win. UConn really needed that.
yeah. All right. With that said, yeah, and that brings us all the way down to the number one moment of the season. I can't wait to break that out tomorrow morning with you, Ryan, bright and early. It's time for since we had Maria on yesterday, we didn't get into I wanted to actually read her some comments of some other fans, UConn fans. I'm guessing most of them live up north from us. But with that said, we will go ahead and break into the comments from the UConn Huskies injury updates video that we posted on May the 16th. Since we had Maria on yesterday, we'll go ahead and get into that. Ryan, the first one, Jason D'Amico. No question, Dorka would have the greatest impact. She is a seasoned biggie and will give the points and forwards a stable inside to play off of. She will also complement Edwards in the paint while elevating the rest of the team with her fierce hustle. Good call. Her only flaw last season before the injury were the missed layups and putbacks. She needs to be more consistent in that part of her game. Peace.
Yeah, and I think you could really say that about the whole team. I know Aaliyah was struggling earlier in the season with those putbacks and easier layups under the basket. But I mean, I think you could say that at just about anybody on the team. When I was watching the games, it seemed like they were getting easy shots, but they just couldn't knock them down. And usually UConn shoots about 50% from the field. So it's not really something that we're used to seeing, that UConn misses those easy shots. But an important part of their offense is getting those offensive rebounds, getting second, third chance, sometimes even 4 chances. And if you give UConn that many chances, they're eventually going to score. But yeah, Dorka, her 3-point shooting, great hustle. Really glad we got her from Ohio State last season. And I think she's going to have an even better season than what she did last year.
Brent, thanks for coming through, Brent. This is a new name I haven't seen. Brent Lamore. Do you think Amari will be able to step up and make a difference?
I hope so. I'm really excited to see a possibility of her getting more minutes this season, coming into her sophomore year. It's going to be a little challenging because we have Lou coming in, the 2 new recruits, Ice Brady, Ayana Patterson coming in, of course, getting Dorka back from her injury, and of course, Aaliyah Edwards. So there's a lot of size down low that UConn has, a lot of depth coming off their bench this season. So it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be interesting going into the summer workout to see what Gino has the players doing. So it's going to be interesting as we get closer to the regular season to see what Gino has in mind in terms of how many minutes these players are getting off the bench.
John, I know I'll probably say his last name wrong. I apologize for this. And Lipolito. John, thanks for coming through. What was Caroline's left hip problem? If you're not allowed to tell, if not, of course I understand. Well,
Yeah,
what what we know is probably I'm almost positive on this one. What we know is probably no different than what anyone else knows. So
no.
we're not here to start any rumors. So again, we just go by the media and we go by the obviously the verified media. Um and what is right, what is wrong. We basically have a clear understanding of that, Ryan. But no, we we don't know anything. We don't know any secrets that anyone else wouldn't know. I wouldn't think.
No, and the article I saw yesterday, I don't think it was a really big surprise. I think obviously Caroline, the news had already came out. She was dealing with the hip injury all throughout the entire season last year. And the hip injury actually happened in high school. And at the time during the season, I don't think anybody knew that except the actual players and coaches around UConn. So for her to be able to put together a season like that and step up for when Paige was out, and give us a couple big scoring games. It was really incredible dealing with that hip injury throughout the whole entire season. So hopefully with her coming off this hip injury now, she'll heal up fast, get back around August, September, like Gino said. Have her around the 100% around September, October, right before the season starts. And yeah, I'm sure she'll do great this season again with AZ and Paige, and Nika Mule.
This one was interesting because I thought about South Carolina. We talked about their size and their frame, particular. And when you mentioned again, when Maria was talking about they need to get more aggressive, the UConn Huskies. That was one of the things that she hit on a lot yesterday, and I really thought that was interesting because this next comment, Jerome Danielson, Dorka needs to add some weight to her frame, particularly if she wants to make an impact at the next level. Well, and hey, not only the next level, Ryan, just think about this. Not only if she gets drafted in the WNBA, how about why don't you just consider the next level being if you face South Carolina again, particularly in the national championship? How about you call that the next level?
Yeah, I mean, she's 6'5", but I mean, the way she's able to shoot her outside shot, as I keep mentioning, I think it's a really important part of her game. Her offensive rebound, she can definitely get rebounds in those games. But yeah, I mean, like you just mentioned, in this upcoming season, if UConn faces South Carolina again, hopefully during the regular season, we get to see that matchup, the rematch. But if not, hopefully sometime in March Madness. But it seems like South Carolina is probably going to be the team to beat again with Dawn Staley and Aaliyah Boston coming back. So it's definitely going to be a tough challenge. But of course, we can't forget about Iowa too, and Caitlin Clark. I can't wait to watch her and see how she does this season.
You're right. We keep on bringing up South Carolina. Well, I keep on bringing up South Carolina. But yeah, you're right. There's a lot of other teams that can cause problems other than South Carolina.
Yeah, NC State, Stanford seems like they're always up there with the best of them. Tennessee had a good run last year, Arizona. So that there's a lot of teams that can give the UConn Huskies some trouble, especially in the deeper part of March Madness.
How about Tom Kibby? Tom, thanks for coming through again. Starting is important, but overall time on the court is more important. And last season should have given us all an object lesson.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear that phone, but somebody from in my office is calling me. I'll have to pick that one up later. But
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I just think for UConn in this upcoming season, especially with them getting more aggressive. But yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be interesting to see. I'm really excited to see in the summer workouts.
The phone ringing got you thrown off.
Yeah, that phone.
That's all right. Ryan has to take a second to put his focus back on and focus in. It's all right. Take your time.
Yeah, but I mean, just speaking on the summer workouts, really excited to see, especially with the two players coming back off of injury. Just interested to see how Gino is going to work everything. Paige Becker's obviously, hopefully, she's 100% coming into the new season as well. So
maybe you might want to check the caller ID. It might have been Gino calling.
It might have been. It might have been.
It might make sure everything's okay. All right. And how about Grogel? This is a regular on this podcast. Thanks again. We haven't heard from Grogel in a while. We hope he's doing all right. We appreciate him commenting. Dorka is probably the most impactful because UConn has only one other experienced big in Edwards. The rest are talented, but unproven. That being said, I expect a massive jump in the play of DeBerry. Hey, I said that in the beginning, but people are like, no, you're forgetting about everybody else. Man, I pointed DeBerry out, Ryan. I am pretty hyped to see her. I expect a massive jump in the play of DeBerry. People who never saw her play in high school have no idea how good she could be. The most moves, the outside range, etc. Amen to this one. Makes her potential at the second best big in the last decade, with Stewie being number one. Wow.
Yeah, that's a bold statement, and I think it could come true. We haven't, we didn't see a lot of her last year, but I know obviously everybody that comes to UConn is pretty talented. So, every player on the team has to work for their and fight for their position on the court, fight for their minutes. But if anything proved from last year, what we took from it, it takes a team effort. So everybody contributes. Everybody always gets a chance to prove themselves to come into the game. But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to see DeBerry and also Aubrey Griffin coming off for injuries as well. Of course, Lou, I'm very excited for the new transfer as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how Gino puts all these girls in the lineup, how he structures the minutes earlier in the season. So can't wait.
We had just for fun a starting lineup episode, right? We predicted for way too early starting lineup. And I think one of us had DeBerry in that starting five, but we took major heat it was starting five. We took major heat for that episode. So yeah, I mean, hey, that goes back to the what was the slogan we used the last time? Expect what? Expect
the unexpected.
Hey, how about we'll save this one last but not least. Iva, she came through again, Ryan, and she goes, I don't care who plays, but please, no more injuries. Dorka is someone who can make a real difference, a big who can lead, who can also make an outside shot, but also everyone needs to evolve. No one would argue that Paige is the best player and is leading by example. But for me, she is still not a leader. Gino said a few times, you can be the best player and not be a leader. She needs to grow in that role in leadership. They need toughness, and two persons that provided were Evina and Nika. This season, Nika will intensify her toughness and energy. And I'll say this for the last, right? For the last comment of the day. This is still Iva. You guys are fun. Your videos are now on my list of must watch and comment.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. We try to spice it up a little bit and make it a little fun sometimes. But yeah, I mean, in my starting lineup, I obviously had Nika because of her intensity on defense and on offense as well. I think she can help Paige in a lot of ways. And I think she sometimes when Paige was out, she would lead the team in some ways that I saw similar to Paige. But I disagree. I think Paige is an awesome leader. I think she's has that leadership mentality that you can't really teach sometimes in a player. And I think she really proved herself in the freshman year. But coming off the injury last season, especially in that NC State game, wasn't 100%, but she only missed one shot throughout the whole second half, knocked down all her free throws, and was the main reason why UConn was able to win that game and advance in the tournament. And a huge reason why UConn was able to get to that championship game against South Carolina. Her ability to come back through that injury, fight through it, and battle her way through the March Madness tournament with the UConn Huskies. So I think her leadership skills are awesome on the team, and hopefully she can stay healthy throughout the whole entire season.
Well, hopefully all three of these big names on the injury list can come back healthy, especially after we had an episode just about these injury updates. So maybe this will do the job, Ryan. Maybe they will all heal up and they will be 100% perfect heading into the 22-23 season. That's all we can hope for. Huh?
I hope so. That's the wish.
That's the plan. All right, we will wrap it up right there, and we will be back tomorrow morning for that number one moment, Ryan, that we've been waiting for in this series. It's finally coming to a close tomorrow morning. Do you want to go ahead and tell them what it is now, or should we wait?
No, let's wait. Let's wait until tomorrow morning. No spoilers.
Those spoiler alerts. I think everyone already knows. It's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah. I
Pretty
think they probably already have a pretty good idea.
okay. Go check that caller ID on your phone. Make sure that was not Gino calling or Paige Beckers. It's Phil and Rye on Listen Up.